Julie always had a way of seeing the world that made everything feel larger than life. Her imagination was a canvas painted with dreams of far-off places, epic adventures, and the promise of tomorrow. Even as a child, she would lie on her bedroom floor, surrounded by crumpled pages of half-finished stories, her heart racing at the thought of the places she'd go and the friends she'd make. But beneath her vibrant exterior lay a heart that bore the weight of a troubled home, filled with silence and unspoken words. It was in the small moments, like racing through the fields with her best friend Sam, that she found solace, where laughter masked the chaos that often defined her life. Before we dive deeper into Julie's journey, let me take a moment to ask you a favor. If you enjoy stories that explore the depths of friendship, love, and the complexities of life, please subscribe to our channel. Your support means everything to us and helps us share these heartfelt tales with even more people. So, take a moment to hit that subscribe button now. Julie and Sam were inseparable, two halves of a whole, as they navigated the complexities of childhood and adolescence together. Their laughter echoed through the sunlit streets of their small town, where they would often spend long afternoons dreaming up grand plans for their futures. Whether it was pretending to be pirates, sailing the high seas, or explorers discovering hidden treasures in the woods, their imaginations knew no bounds. The world outside their idyllic bubble, however, was far less forgiving. Julie's home was filled with tension and misunderstandings, while Sam wrestled with his own family's expectations and disappointments. They found refuge in each other, shaping a bond that felt unbreakable. But as they entered their teenage years, the innocence of childhood gave way to the complicated realities of love and loyalty. A clandestine crush transformed into a tangled love triangle that would change everything. Sam's unspoken feelings for Julie collided with her unexpected affection for another boy in their circle, igniting a fire that would consume their friendship. The betrayal felt sharp and cutting, and in the aftermath, the two drifted apart, leaving behind a gaping void where their laughter had once filled the air. Julie left for college, determined to escape the small town that held nothing but painful memories. She buried herself in studies, new friendships, and a life that felt worlds away from the one she had known. The ache of loss was something she chose to ignore, convincing herself that moving on was the only way to heal. Over the years, she received sporadic messages from Sam, each one a haunting reminder of the friendship they had once cherished. But she turned a blind eye, unwilling to reopen wounds that had long since scabbed over in her heart. As the years passed, Julie crafted a life that, on the surface, appeared bright and fulfilling. She chased after career goals, traveled to distant lands, and engaged in relationships that came and went like the seasons. Yet, there remained an emptiness, a whisper of a past that lingered just out of reach. It wasn't until a quiet evening, while sifting through old photographs, that a vivid memory of Sam ignited within her. She could almost hear his laughter, see the way his eyes sparkled with mischief as they plotted their next adventure. In that moment, a rush of nostalgia washed over her, stirring feelings she thought she had long buried. In an impulsive fit of longing, Julie opened her laptop and typed Sam's name into a search engine. The results flooded her screen, revealing snippets of his life, each one a reminder of the boy she once knew. But then, her heart sank as she stumbled upon the news of his illness. A terminal diagnosis. Those words felt heavy, pressing down on her chest like a stone. What had happened to the boy who had once been her anchor? The realization hit her like a wave, crashing over her with the force of regret and sorrow. The years had flown by, and now she was faced with the reality that time was not on their side. Before she could second-guess herself, she opened her email and began to type. "Sam, it's me, Julie." The words flowed from her fingertips, fueled by a mixture of hope and fear. Would he even want to hear from her after all this time? Would he remember the laughter they once shared, or the dreams they had woven together? The thought of reaching out felt both liberating and terrifying. After a few moments that felt like an eternity, she hit send, watching as the cursor blinked back at her, a silent reminder of her vulnerability. Days passed, An uncertainty gnawed at her. Would he respond? Did she even deserve a reply after all these years? Julie occupied herself with work and friends, but her mind kept drifting back to Sam. The anticipation was a constant hum in the background, a reminder that she had opened a door she once thought was firmly closed. Then, one afternoon, as she sat sipping coffee at her favorite cafe, her phone buzzed. It was a message from Sam. The words on the screen felt surreal, as if they were calling her back to a time when laughter and dreams were all that mattered. Their exchange unfolded like a delicate dance, each message layered with honesty and vulnerability. As they shared their lives, their regrets, and the pain of lost time, the connection that had once defined their youth began to reemerge. They spoke of their families, the challenges they faced, and the dreams that had shifted with the passing years. Slowly, they began to peel back the layers of hurt and misunderstanding, rekindling a friendship that had once felt unbreakable. Julie found herself laughing at Sam's jokes, remembering the inside jokes they shared and the way he could always make her smile. The wall she had built around her heart began to crumble, and with each exchange, she felt a sense of relief wash over her. It was as if they were no longer strangers, but two old friends finding their way back to each other after a long, painful separation. With every word, they embraced the possibility of healing, of understanding, and of forgiveness. As their conversations deepened, they began to speak about the future. Sam mentioned his wish to see her one last time, to share memories and laughter in person, to confront the ghosts of their past together. The thought sent a thrill through Julie, igniting a spark of hope she had thought extinguished long ago. She knew the visit would be bittersweet, filled with emotions she had long buried. But the prospect of reconnecting, of finally facing the truth of their broken friendship, was something she could no longer ignore. With each passing day, the urgency to see Sam intensified, and soon, she found herself making plans for her visit. The journey ahead was shrouded in uncertainty, but the promise of closure beckoned her forward. What would they say to each other? How would they navigate the tangled web of their shared history? The questions loomed large, but Julie felt an undeniable pull to face them head-on. In the days leading up to her departure, she reflected on the years that had passed, the choices that had led them down separate paths, and the friendship that had once been the cornerstone of her childhood. As she packed her bag, she felt both excitement and trepidation. This reunion held the potential to heal old wounds or deepen the scars that had formed over the years. But she knew that she had to try. The night before her trip, she lay in bed, staring at the ceiling as memories washed over her like a tide. She thought of Sam's laughter, their shared adventures, and the innocent dreams they had once held so tightly. Would they be able to reclaim even a fraction of that joy? The thought filled her with both hope and fear, a dichotomy that mirrored the complexities of their past. It was time to step into the unknown, to confront the shadows of her past, and to embrace the possibility of reclaiming a friendship that had shaped her life in ways she was only beginning to understand. With a deep breath, she reminded herself that this journey was not just about Sam. It was about her own healing, her own reconciliation with the girl she had once been, and the woman she was becoming. As she closed her eyes, a sense of calm washed over her. Tomorrow, she would board a plane and embark on a journey that held the promise of rediscovery, and perhaps a chance to rewrite the ending of their story. The moment Julie stepped off the plane, a rush of memories enveloped her like a familiar embrace. The air was thick with the scent of nostalgia, mingling with the faint whiff of the changing seasons. She hadn't realized how much she missed the small-town charm, the way the sun set behind the hills, painting the sky in hues of orange and pink, or the sound of crickets chirping as evening fell. But this time, the quaint familiarity was tinged with an undercurrent of urgency and anxiety. She was here to see Sam, and her heart raced at the thought of what lay ahead. As she made her way to the hospital, each passing moment felt like a countdown. Memories of their childhood together flooded her mind, each one sharper than the last. She recalled the days spent exploring the woods behind their houses, where they built forts and made promises of adventure. The laughter, the dreams, the unbreakable bond. They all felt just within reach, yet so far away. The thought of rekindling that connection brought a smile to her face, but it was quickly eclipsed by the reality that Sam was fighting for his life. Julie arrived at the hospital, her heart pounding in her chest. The sterile environment felt foreign, a stark contrast to the vibrant world she had envisioned when she thought of Sam. She hesitated for a moment outside his room, taking a deep breath to steady herself. This was it. No more hiding, no more running away from the past. She pushed the door open, and the sight of Sam lying in the bed drew a gasp from her lips. He looked older, more fragile than she remembered, yet there was a familiar spark in his eyes that made her heart ache. "Julie?" His voice was hoarse but filled with disbelief and warmth. It was as if time had collapsed, and they were once again the kids who shared dreams and secrets. Only now they were standing at the precipice of something profound. "Hey, Sam," she managed, her voice trembling as she stepped closer. A smile broke across his face, illuminating the room like the sun breaking through dark clouds. In that moment, she felt the weight of her years apart slip away. "I can't believe you're here," he said, his eyes glistening with emotion. "I thought you'd never come." I didn't know if I could," she admitted, her voice barely above a whisper. "But I couldn't stay away any longer. I've missed you." The words hung in the air, heavy with all the unspoken regrets and the time lost between them. Sam shifted slightly, pain flickering across his face as he adjusted himself in bed. Julie felt a pang of guilt. She wished she could take away his suffering, to make everything right. "I missed you too," he said, his expression softening. "It's been a long time, hasn't it? So much has happened." "Too long," she agreed, her heart aching at the distance that had grown between them. "I've thought about you so much over the years, Sam. I wish I could have been there for you." He nodded, a shadow crossing his face. "I understand why you left. I never blamed you, Julie. We were just kids, and everything got so complicated." The vulnerability in his voice struck a chord within her. She had spent years running from the past, burying her feelings. But here, in this moment, she felt the walls she had built begin to crumble. They were finally facing the truth, the misunderstandings, the betrayals, the shattered dreams. "I should have reached out sooner," she confessed, her voice thick with emotion. "I was scared of what I'd find if I dug up the past." Sam met her gaze, his expression earnest. "We both were, but we're here now, and that's what matters. Can we talk about everything? About what happened between us?" Julie swallowed hard, nodding as tears filled her eyes. "Yes, I need to." As they talked, the room transformed from a sterile hospital space into a sanctuary of shared memories and unburdened hearts. They spoke of the love triangle that had pulled them apart, the hurtful words that had been exchanged, and the choices that had defined their paths. Julie felt a weight lift from her shoulders as she poured out her heart, revealing the loneliness and regret that had shadowed her for so long. "I thought about you at the worst moments," she admitted, her voice wavering. "There were times I wanted to reach out, but I didn't know how to face you after everything." Sam listened intently, his expression softening with understanding. "I felt the same way. I never stopped caring about you, Julie. When I found out I was sick, I realized I didn't want to die without telling you how much you meant to me." The admission sent a ripple of emotion through her, and she took a moment to collect herself. "I didn't know," she said softly, her heart aching. "I tried to reach out, but I wasn't sure if you want to hear from me," he continued, his voice steady. "But I needed you to know that our friendship was the best part of my life." Tears streamed down Julie's cheeks as she absorbed his words. "You were my best friend, Sam. You were my safe place. I've missed you more than I can say." In that hospital room, time seemed to stand still as they navigated the intricate tapestry of their past. They laughed through tears, reminiscing about shared adventures, the silly arguments that had once consumed them, and the dreams of a future that had slipped through their fingers. With each story, they peeled back the layers of hurt, revealing the raw, unfiltered bond they had once cherished. As the hours passed, Julie felt a profound sense of peace settle over her. The journey to this moment had been fraught with pain and regret, but now, sitting beside Sam, she felt a glimmer of hope for what lay ahead. They were no longer just two people haunted by the ghosts of their past. They were two souls finding their way back to each other, ready to embrace whatever came next. "Do you think we could start over?" Sam asked, his voice gentle, yet filled with a hint of vulnerability. Not like we were kids, but as two people who understand what we've lost and what we can have again. The question hung in the air, a fragile thread connecting their hearts. Julie felt a rush of emotion, her heart swelling with the possibility of rebuilding their friendship. "I would love that," she replied, her voice steady and resolute. "I don't want to lose you again. Not after everything." Sam smiled, a light breaking through the darkness that had surrounded them for far too long. "Then let's take it one day at a time. We have so much to catch up on, so much to share." Julie nodded, her heart soaring with hope. "Yes, let's do that. I want to be here for you, Sam. No more running away." With those words, they began to forge a new path, one that held the promise of healing, forgiveness, and an unbreakable bond. They spoke of their dreams, the adventures they had once imagined, and the ones they still hoped to experience together. In the face of uncertainty, they found strength in one another, and for the first time in years, Julie felt truly alive, ready to embrace the future, whatever it held. If this story is touching your heart, make sure to comment from where you are hearing this amazing story. As the sun set outside, casting a warm glow over the hospital room, Julie felt a sense of belonging she hadn't experienced in years. It was more than just a rekindled friendship. It was a promise of resilience, a testament to the power of connection, and a reminder that love, in all its forms, could endure even the most challenging of circumstances. Together, they would navigate the complexities of their lives, embracing the moments that mattered most, and cherishing the bond that had weathered the test of time. And with that hope nestled in their hearts, they began to dream anew, ready to write the next chapter of their story together. As the sun dipped below the horizon, casting a warm, golden light through the hospital window, Julie and Sam found themselves enveloped in a cocoon of shared stories and laughter. The laughter felt like a balm, soothing the scars of their past while building a bridge toward a hopeful future. They spoke as if no time had passed, their words flowing effortlessly, free from the weight of old grievances. "Remember that time we tried to camp in the backyard and ended up running inside because of the thunderstorm?" Julie chuckled, her eyes sparkling with nostalgia. "Of course. You were convinced it was the end of the world," Sam replied with a grin. "I was just trying to keep the lantern lit while you hid under the blankets." Julie laughed, the sound ringing through the room like music. "I was just scared. You were the brave one, always ready to jump into any adventure." Sam's smile faded momentarily, but he quickly masked it with a chuckle. "I think I was just trying to impress you," he admitted, his tone turning serious for a moment. "But mostly, I just wanted to be by your side." The weight of his words settled between them, a shared acknowledgement of the bond that had always existed, despite the years apart. "You always did, Sam, even when everything fell apart," she replied softly, her heart swelling with gratitude. As the evening wore on, their conversation drifted, touching upon the realities of life that had shaped them both. Sam spoke of his illness openly, the fear he had faced, and the moments of clarity that had emerged from the shadows. "You know, being diagnosed made me realize how fleeting life is. It's easy to get caught up in the what-ifs and the regrets," he said, his voice steady but laced with emotion. "But I've learned that it's never too late to reach out, to reconnect with the people who matter most." Julie nodded, tears welling in her eyes. "I wish I had understood that sooner. I let fear dictate my choices, and I lost so much in the process." "I lost you. We both did," Sam replied gently. "But here we are now, ready to move forward. We can't change the past, but we can shape our present and future." The sincerity in his words resonated deeply within her. "You're right. I want to be here for you, Sam, through everything. I want to make up for lost time." As they continued to share their hopes and fears, a sense of determination filled the room. They spoke of the adventures they once dreamed of, making plans to create new memories together. We could start with the places we always talked about visiting, Sam suggested, his eyes alight with enthusiasm. Can you imagine us hiking in the mountains? Or revisiting that lake where we used to fish? Julie's heart raced at the thought. Yes, and we'll actually catch something this time. She laughed, excitement bubbling within her. Definitely. We'll be the dream team again, he replied, his infectious smile igniting a spark of joy in her heart. As the night deepened, they fell into a comfortable silence, the weight of the world momentarily lifting. The unspoken understanding that they were no longer burdened by their past hung in the air, a promise of renewal. Julie took Sam's hand, feeling the warmth of connection flow between them. I'm here, Sam. I'm not going anywhere, she said, her voice resolute. He squeezed her hand gently, a grateful smile spreading across his face. That means everything to me, Julie. You have no idea how much I've longed for this moment. In that quiet hospital surrounded by the hum of machines and the soft glow of lamps, they began to forge a new chapter, one that would encompass not only healing, but a rebuilding of their lives together. Time may have stolen years from them, but it could not erase the bond they shared. As they settled into a rhythm of conversation, laughter, and reflection, the past felt less like a burden and more like a foundation upon which they could build something beautiful. Each story shared, each laugh exchanged, became a stepping stone toward a future filled with possibility. And so, with the dawn of a new day on the horizon, they faced the unknown together. With hearts open and spirits renewed, Julie and Sam embarked on a journey of rediscovery, where every moment would count and every memory would be cherished. In each other, they found not only solace, but a reminder that true friendship could withstand the test of time and emerge stronger, ready to embrace the adventures that lay ahead. As the first light of morning crept through the window, illuminating their faces, Julie felt a renewed sense of hope. They were no longer just two people with a complicated past. They were friends again, ready to reclaim their story, one chapter at a time. With laughter echoing through the hospital room, the future stretched before them, bright and full of promise.